Hey, it's Jeff Chiani with the Lessons from Leaders podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I can't say enough positive things about the guest that we have on today, Jason Williford. He is a best-selling author, a host, a speaker, a consultant to high-producing real estate agents across the country. He, after spending years in the trenches in the real estate business himself, has become an expert in systems to generate leads, increase efficiency, generate referrals, you name it. Today, he's the protege of Mr. Preeminence himself, Jay Abraham, and he spends most of his time today working with entrepreneurs like Kevin Harrington, Michael Burnoff, Jay Abraham, Ben Gay III. So we're super excited to have him. Jason believes in a world of unlimited opportunities, and he's going to expand on that. So let's get started.
But my mind space back then, like where was my mind at? Hey, I'm not afraid to take my shots. When I think I have a shot, take it. Sometimes they go off magnificently and sometimes they don't, and I think that just comes down to failure, where I used to in my younger years, but I used to be afraid of failure growing up and through my younger years and even through my younger business years. What is my little mission, my little Steve Jobs ding in the universe? I feel where I can make a big impact, really preeminence. One of the chapters, the preeminent agent. I didn't come up with preeminence or the strategy of preeminence. Jay Abraham came up with the strategy of preeminence. Real estate agents can be more preeminent, and by being more preeminent at a high level, it allows that consumer trust rating that's flat out ridiculous would flip-flop. My definition of preeminence, and I'm going off the top of the head, becoming the number one, most trusted, most authoritative, most biggest advocate for the consumer.
Like I met you when, right? And so that was back in, what year was that when you were at, recent?
That's a very good question. I'm trying to remember which year that was that I met you. I'm thinking 2015 or 16.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And so what were you going through at that time? If you were to just think about your mind space at that point in time.
Back in that point in time, I believe I met you like right when Tracy and I partnered with NAEA to be their first regional partner outside of Dallas, Texas, for the partner program that they had.
Yep.
But my mind space back then, like where was my mind at? Just like now, hey, I'm not afraid to take my shots. When I think I have a shot, I take it. And sometimes they go off magnificently and sometimes they don't, and I think that just comes down to failure. And where I used to in my younger years, before 2016, I became better at it even since 2016. But I used to be afraid of failure growing up and through my younger years and even through my younger business years, afraid to fail. And I guess kind of like that one book mentions, I can't remember the name of it, but, failing fast, failing often, not embracing failure versus thinking that it's going to be catastrophic. So, that's allowed me to take shots that I wouldn't have taken in my younger self, like with a book with Jay Abraham, the TV show Agents on Fire with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank and Jay Abraham. And there's going to be 4 other special guests that are world-renowned entrepreneurs, marketing, business, gurus, etc., that I'm bringing on in collaboration with me for the show as well.
So I want to just so I want to dive into that and some of what you've learned probably in the last 5 years. Probably it seems like since you've been able to work closely with some of those leaders on a different level. So we'll dive into that. But going back to when you were growing up and afraid of failure and that sort of thing, go back to that point in time. And this podcast is Lessons from Leaders, right? And so really what I want to convey through these things are just, lessons that are related to good examples of leadership and kind of define what leadership is in a way for people and stuff. So going back to that space, who were some of your leaders back then that you would have admired?
Well, I'll quickly hit on that a fast story. we've all been through tough times. So I'm not saying mine is worse than others, but my father had a nervous breakdown when I was 8 years old. I was homeless by the time I was 19 years old. I lived in my car. I wrote the book with Jay Abraham, The Ultimate Real Estate Machine. But what many folks don't know, really all folks don't know, you're the first one that I'm even releasing this information to, because I'm just honest, authentic, and raw and real. And the raw information is that when I was in sixth grade, there's a book we had to read called Funny Farm. And I was never a star student by any stretch. That's before I really valued learning, but I could not comprehend that book. I think it had to do with my ADHD in my past when I was younger. And I was spanked by my father for not understanding. I couldn't grasp it. Now, things were different back then, so I'm not knocking my father. I'm just saying my grades were horrible, and that was one of the things I had to do over a weekend was get the book, not only read the book, but internalize the book. And I couldn't internalize the book, and ultimately that got my ass whooped. And so that's, even going further, like, leadership and it really starts with your self leadership and, just looking back on that event happening in the past and then to be able to go on to write a book with one of the best marketing and business strategists that's ever walked the planet. And I just finished reviewing an article that's going to be in Entrepreneur magazine about the book. And I don't say this to be braggy. I'm just saying, hey, no matter where you've came from in your life, that anything is possible. And once you get rid of those limiting beliefs, the bullshit thinking that, we all can have, once you break through those barriers, truly you can accomplish anything that you desire.
So on your form, on the guest form that you filled out, there was a question about, what is a question that you wish somebody would ask you more often, I think is what it is, or something like that. And, you said, to summarize kind of what you said is you would like people to ask you probably and help define why there's an 80% failure rate for most real estate agents within their first, 24 months or less, why most only make, $37,000 a year. And so, I think you'll allude to, it's probably not the individual that's the reason for that. Why do you think that it's so hard for people to reach the level of success that you did in real estate and beyond?
And I've said this for years, through evolution, through experience, training real estate agents. That was one of my buckets in our organization, was training real estate agents, pretty decent at it. Our average agent closed 31 transactions per year versus 4.5 transactions per year. So, and that being the average across the board, 31 was the average. So, and I've said this in my boot camps, that the two biggest reasons why real estate agents fail, number one, is they're not marketers. The cost to and when I'm talking about marketer, I'm not talking about listing a property and marketing the property. I'm talking about marketing to acquire new clients, to always having a steady stream of new clients coming into the business, not only coming into the business, but, as it even states in the book, can't remember the number off the top of my head, but the cost to acquire a new client versus retain a client, create a lifelong client. Creating a lifelong client is much, much, much cheaper. And I think it's something like 7 times cheaper than acquiring a new client. So not just acquiring clients, but retaining clients over a lifetime that sends you steady streams of and avalanches of referrals and comes back and does business with you. But the marketing bucket, the cost to acquire a new client in real estate is so freaking high that most can't afford to do it. And I think it's a travesty that many of those people have hopes, dreams, aspirations, and they go dive into their 401k account and think that, hey, I'm going to put one direct mail blast into this neighborhood with 3,000 rooftops, and I'm going to have tremendous success, and I'm going to go and I'm going to sit by the phone, and the phone's just going to ring off the hook with that one blast. or whatever campaign that it may be. And it just doesn't happen. And, that's one of the biggest reasons why I think most agents fail. And the average realtor only nets around $39,000 per year per NAR's latest buyer and seller report. Nets. That's gross minus the expenses. The second reason is I believe the industry lies to them. And how do they lie to them? Because the irrefutable truth, again, is that over 80% of real estate agents do not make it to year two, is that every brand that I know of, and there's some great ones out there, but there's some that do no training at all. But every brand says, hey, we have the best platform for you learning, for you growing. And that just cannot be true with the statistics. There was a Business Wire in 2018. They did a study, and the study's findings came back that only 11% of consumers trust real estate agents. That's freaking horrible. And, what is my little mission, my little Steve Jobs ding in the universe, I feel where I can make a big impact is really preeminence. Excuse the shameless plug for the book, but I honestly believe in my heart, and I know without a doubt, that if every state, theoretically, I know this is not going to happen, but theoretically, if every state said, hey, you have to read this book, and you have to do all of the massive action assignments that live within the 13 of the 15 chapters of the book, I know that all of those statistics would shift. Even if it's slightly, they would shift. Comes down to being preeminence. Yeah. One of the chapters, the preeminent agent, which is the preeminent. I didn't come up with preeminence or the strategy of preeminence. Jay Abraham came up with the strategy of preeminence. And that's what the preeminent agent is about, how real estate agents can be more preeminent. And by being more preeminent at a high level, it allows that consumer trust rating that's flat out ridiculous would flip-flop.
Yeah, that makes sense. So we'll dive into more about preeminence, man. I think this is an awesome start. I kind of know what we'll talk about, so I'll send over my my notes, man, and you'll know what we're going to talk about. But this is great. So let's talk about when we can schedule our call.
The TV shows also. What is the TV show about? Just so you know.
Yeah.
The TV show is a contestant style reality show with agents competing, but most off. They're competing through evolutions, but most off, it's a show about inspiration. So it's going to be inspiring to other agents, not only other agents, but folks within the housing industry. But it'll be inspiring to human beings regardless. Like Miss Angela Dowd, she's one of our contestants. Behind the scenes, that's what I'm doing, is mentoring them on taking them from where they currently are to where they want to go, but doing that rapidly. And Miss Angela, she's not in Silicon Valley. She's in a market in Connecticut, and she put under contract about a week ago, $4 million in 4 days. And her best month prior was $4 million in 1 month.
What do you think is one thing that you showed her that helped her get there?
I'm not trying to take credit for it either.
But I'm sure, you pointed her, you vectored her in some particular direction, just one thing that might have helped her get there.
Not to sound like a Jay Abraham broken record, but geometric business growth. So we're focusing on a lot, in the evolutions and the business breakthroughs that they have, is very profound, obviously, with the results that, that not just Angela's getting, but really everyone that's participating is getting. But one of them, I've been taking them through Elite Agent Referral Mastery and it's kind of weird and funny and God honest truth of how much I'm reverting them back to the book. Like because we're doing accountability groups. Biggest thing right now we're going through is Elite Agent Referral Mastery, which is a product that I have with Jay Abraham. There's 217 predictable referral strategies, and we're building a predictable referral mega machine through that. We're about 75% done of the actual course. I'm taking them through that. Jay's going to be coming on, as a guest for the show to go deeper into referral strategies with them. But it's been cool to even just revert back to the book. Hey, that's in the book. One of the things that Angela talks about is even the chapter 4, the preeminent agent, on God's honest truth, the preeminent agent of how much being preeminent, has affected her business like that, like within 6 weeks.
So how do you define that? What's your definition of preeminence?
My definition of preeminence, and I'm going off the top of the head, is becoming the number one, most trusted, most authoritative, biggest advocate for the consumer, the advisor for the consumer, the one that falls in love with the client over his or her services, the one that plays the lifelong game, that doesn't play the one-time transaction game, that truly plays the lifelong game, the one that doesn't sell a client more of a home than they need, but they also don't sell them less of a home than they need. They sell the client by asking strategic questions, diving in deep, finding out more of what those clients want than even they know of what they really want at that point in the process. And they get them what they want. They're not afraid to have the tough conversations with them. They view their market. As clients. They never view them as consumers. Imagine the shift on even your database of, hey, these aren't prospects. These aren't leads. These are clients, even though technically they aren't legally clients because they haven't signed anything, but hey, they're all clients. How do we talk to them then? And how do we be the trusted advisor, the consumer advocate to those people? Sorry, I can go deeper, but
that's gold. No,
kind of brain farting.
Yeah, no, that's gold. Well, people want to dive deeper, they can probably go to the book. And so just tell me who.
Just go to the book.
Tell me.
Read chapter 4.
Who's the book for?
And one of the chapters, chapter 9, is mistakes that cost your business huge profits. And there's 29 marketing mistakes that are within that chapter, and how to fix those marketing mistakes. But what I'm getting at is I make marketing mistakes. You make marketing mistakes. We all make marketing mistakes, and we're all making all 29 marketing mistakes at any given time when you live in the world of optimization where everything could always be improved upon. And one of the mistakes I made, to get back to your question, is in the subtitle, which is how team leaders can build a prestigious brand, blah, blah, blah. And the 2 words, team leader, I made a marketing mistake because which it was initially wrote for team leaders in real estate, but it's also written for successful real estate agents, even if they're independent. It's also wrote for agents that aren't successful yet, because I'm sure they want to be successful. But it also ties in very close to lenders, mortgage loan officers. It ties into builders, developers, basically anyone within the housing industry. The book, Entrepreneurs Will Get Nuggets, anyone within the housing industry, and actually even truthfully outside the industry. I even put a 200% money back guarantee on the book, because if not only they read the book, but they go out and execute upon the 13 massive action assignments that are within the book, there is no way, I'd put a 5,000% guarantee on it. There's no way that someone would not get results, period.
So what's the name of the book, and where can they go get it? I'm sure it's on Amazon and stuff, but what do they look for?
The Ultimate Real Estate Machine.
Got it right there.
And it's on Amazon.
The Ultimate Real Estate Machine on Amazon. And what about, if they want to go even deeper, you have the Elite Agent Mastery thing you're working on. If they want to find out other ways that you can help them, where do they go?
Yeah, and quite honestly, actually Jason Williford 360.com right here.
Jason Williford 360.com.
Yeah, it has all, and I have no financial reason for plugging this product. It's just a great product, and I like to give back, but it's really cool. Like if you go and check mine out, it ties all your social media in there. Like say you meet someone, so it's not just a digital business card. Let's say you meet someone at a gas station and they're thinking about real estate or whatever they're thinking about, leadership. You met an amazing leader, and how they become on your podcast. You send that to their phone, they text you their number, you send it to their phone, the link to that, and in one click you can pull up all your social media accounts. You can pull up a link where they can quickly book a call with you. They can any websites that you have. I think it's like up to 3 videos that you link to podcast if you want on there. So it's really cool. Even when you click on mine, you'll see where you can click on a button to where you can get your own 360 site. So it's been really cool for me.
The only thing, I would say that I would have asked you, and to finish things up, everybody knows where to go get the ultimate real estate machine on Amazon. And you've been working with a bunch of great leaders. I've seen it, now over the course of 6 years, from even where you were then to where you've gone now. And it's amazing. So, man, it's
I've been blessed with mentors.
Yeah. So what's the biggest, speaking of mentors, you know what I mean? All that being said, what's the one leadership lesson or principle that you would leave everybody with at the end of this episode?
I would leave them with, I'd start off with setting this expectation that, hey, I'm currently not a perfect leader. I haven't been one in the past. And here's what the deal is that unless you're running a multi-billion-dollar company, you may be able to say, hey, I'm a great leader. Because again, when you live in the world of optimization, there's always room for improvement. I know I still have a lot of room to grow as well, but it would be the evolution of never, I guess it goes back to Tony Robbins' Connie, constant and never ending innovation, I think he says, but also he ties it in with, learning as well, to forever be a lifelong learner and always keep, honing that skill set.